Welcome to A Faithful Life. My name is Amuna Yisrael, and this is day number 19 of the Proverbs Challenge. This is my after Shabbat flow. So here we go. Gem juice for the day. Number 19 and verse 2 stuck out. Also that the soul be without knowledge, it is not good, and he that hastes with his feet sinneth. The soul without knowledge is not good, Solomon says here. You ever came across somebody you seeking? I remember this happened to me back when, okay, let me tell you a little sort of story. I've always loved the word of the Most High, ever since I was little. I've always wanted to seek and search, and I've always used to ask my parents. At that time, I didn't know. I would ask them to take me to church, even though, we didn't have to go. Some people grew up, you had to go. But I was little, and I would say, can you take me? And they would take me, and they would drop me off. As I grew, I really wanted to know the word of the Most High. So at that time, I didn't know nothing else. So I said, hey, maybe it's at a Christian seminary. But I didn't have a bachelor's degree, so they said you can do a two. This is back in New York. True story. They said you could do a two-year course and get like a servant's thing. So I said, oh, that's what's up. So I started to go. I was all into it too, y'all. Trust me, I was in the books. I was the youngest one in the class, and they would be like, hey, you ask the question, because I was the fearless one. Anyway, and as I began to read, I'm like, wait a minute, something. They gave me books, and I'm reading the books, and I'm like, something is strange. And as I continued to read and go along, and those who were with me in the class, and I began to ask questions and go in a direction that they was a little bit uncomfortable with, they was like, hold up. They didn't want to know. And I'm the only one who kept going. And everybody called me. I said, you know what? This is the wrong direction for me. And I actually stopped going to the class. And they called me, and everybody's like, what? Where are you? Why aren't you coming back? The scripture says, also the soul that be without knowledge, it is not good. And as I continued to seek that knowledge and that truth, because that was always my prayer, not necessarily religion, but the truth of who the Creator was, I realized that I had to go beyond the comfort zone. And those who, I remember going to the library, they're like, oh, don't read that book. Oh, don't look there. I'm like, okay, as the Most High leads. And He has led me to this point, how many? 10 plus, 12 plus years later. So this is definitely one that I would say that it is not good to not want to know. When I mean not want to know, I mean, for instance, I talk to a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses that usually come by the house. They knock on the door. I'm the type of person, I let them in. Come on in. And as we begin to talk, you go into touchy areas, they don't want to know. They jump up quick and tell me, oh, I got to go. See you later. If I begin to talk about the dietary laws and talk about not religiously why we shouldn't eat certain things, but factually and health-wise why we shouldn't eat certain things. And this is just an example, not to pick on anybody in particular, but this is just an example of my experience of people who don't want to know. Don't tell me why I shouldn't eat pork. I don't want to know what the pig does. I don't want to know what the shrimp does. And they start going la 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 la, closing their ears, because if you allow this information to come into your spirit, it's going to convict you, and you're going to have to change. But Solomon says here, it's not good for the soul to be without knowledge. So if we want to get closer to the Most High, we continue to ask for His truth so that we could be delivered and get the knowledge so that we can be wise and make wiser decisions. What also was highlighted in my mind today was 14. You like highlighted, right? I didn't say jumped out this time. House and riches are in the inheritance of fathers, and a prudent wife is from the Most High. Now, if you saw yesterday's episode when it says that he that find a wife find a good thing, and I said a little something on it, and I know, sometimes we don't want to hear certain things. I say it in love. I don't say. Sometimes I like to joke and laugh. But this one here, again with the wife, but this time it says a prudent one is from the Creator. I wanted to look up the word in Hebrew. Oftentimes you'll hear me say, I wanted to see what it says in Hebrew, because sometimes they loosely translate it and the English and Hebrew are not adding up. So I like to go check it out. In this instance, the word was sakal, the sheen, the chet, and the lamed. Remember, Hebrew is the original language in which the text is written. And when I looked it up, it means wise, circumspect, intelligent, one who's able to teach. This time, what first comes to mind was Abigail or Abigail, who was Nabal's wife, if we remember. And the scripture tells us that she was an intelligent woman. She was able to perceive. She's able to, basically the Proverbs 31 woman, of which, by the way, we're going to have a blast on the Proverbs 31. But she's the type of woman who's very insightful, who applies herself to knowing and understanding. And it says this type of individual is from the Most High. I wanted to touch on this one because it spoke to me. What I find is that oftentimes the Most High gives us gifts, and He gives us as gifts to others to enrich each other's life in a mutual way. And when it is that we're not prepared for the gift or the person, and in this case is saying a wife, but it can be a child, it can be, somebody who the Most High has brought into your life, and when they have their purpose, of which it is evident and it is shining, if the individual who they have come into their life is not ready to receive them, what oftentimes happens is we try to dim their light and say, oh, you're too bright, turn you down. Or we try to, instead of spending the time and the energy to work together to get further, because one individual may not want to do the work, or may not want to change, or may not want to elevate, or may try to convert the other one from their true life goal, what happens is it no longer becomes a delight. We no longer see the blessing in what the Most High has given us. So I pray this day that when it is that we see that somebody, the Most High has given us someone special, the Most High has given you to someone or someone to you, that we appreciate that gift, we appreciate that blessing, because all too often we ask for blessings, and when we get them, then they become a curse because we ourselves don't want to do the work and to change. On that note, I want to say, let us learn to appreciate one another, build up one another, share love with one another, and reprove one another when we are in error. So thank you for tuning into A Faithful Life. If you haven't seen all the other episodes, look, you can do so right here, and you can subscribe right here. And I pray you have a blessed night.